Hello everyone, I'm Antipodish. Today I would like to talk about another iteration of UMeFate and with focus on autonomy. These are first systems on autonomy which I would like to showcase in form of the video. So first, the new things which we have here compared to other video, which been quite a long time ago now, we have needs. System of needs. We have sleep, hunger, spare time. We have also need for socializing and being with the nature. So I would like to talk about what happens when things interact with and how things works briefly. And then I will showcase a bit behind the scene and some technical words in terms of the modding. So I'm gonna bring Yumi's actually to close because they actually have their own some form of autonomy and they're doing by themselves. Previously, the Yumis were walking randomly. Now they're not doing this so much as before. So what we have here? We have Yumi, which basically is filling up the hunger at first. So at the moment, the hunger is filled up by being close to trees, just as being the need of being around nature. Same with the sleep. So we can see those needs are filled up if they are close enough. And those priorities are changing. And this is moddable, all can be moddable, and icons as well as the layout through Lua and config settings. Yeah, the character teleported, but is my visual bug, which I need to fix, so ignore that for now. I'm gonna bring them for now closer to the center of this area, where we have those beds and characters can take a sleep. And also I'm using the controller. So I have the controller as well as I can go in the first person, second person or third person and control via controller directly or like with the mouse from distance or with WSID from up close. So I got options like a distance mouse by clicking. So that was the idea from the beginning. So there's first live scene which basically in development which implemented this kind of system. So as you see, the needs here on the bottom, the spare time never grows, is always constant. The hunger grows, the sleep grows, and the community interaction grows. Although I think it's something broken with communication with the community and is never popping up in the list. So something which I need to look at. So yeah, those are basics. Now let's have a look how it works a bit more technical side. So we see the grid and when the characters walk, this grid are updating, like the cells of this grid. And the links, they're telling what interacts with what, or can interact with what. More like I'm seeing those trees in the area, the blue line is interacting, which I'm feeding at the moment. So I'm eating. Let's come closer to, I'm lost, yeah. So now the orange line is the another character in the range. And technically when I get close, the blinking one now shows that, yeah, so that's the visual bug which I mentioned previously. The blinking one is they talking each other. The green lines shows where I can potentially sleep interactions. And when I get close, they're again blinking and see I'm sleeping. So it's updating the need. So now in terms of modding, I'm going to go into the Lua file. And this is one of part of modding located in documents. You can put into documents of own. By default, they will be all installed in the game. But when you copy those files or move actually those files or create the new files, you can update those from document at runtime. So we're going to look at the Hunger at the moment. So how fast the Hunger fills up. You see the speed of both sides. I'm going to accelerate this by almost 3 times. And now Hunger is ramping up. So what it is called is hot reloading. You can modify a lot of parts of the script at runtime as long as they are in documents. So we can create, we can add, there's this console at the moment, there is no message, but we can add messages into the console. And message. Yeah, so we have log in my message. So it can be helpful for debugging. It's slowing down significantly, unfortunately, at the moment, but I might figure out how to not make it slow. But generally, you shouldn't be using, leaving those lines of code active. They should be only for debugging at given time. Another option is to look into the logs of the game where the different messages like general print message is will be found rather in the console. So there is that. Now I'm going to switch into the single mode into the larger map. I have loaded map with 400 of Yumis at the moment, and all of them have this autonomy mechanics, which I did mention, which I described previously. There is no idea yet. There's various issues of some kind of, and I need to resolve. But at the moment, it is the main idea is to showcase, yes, this complex system of hundreds of Yumis can work, and the goal also is to keep the performance around 60 frames per second, which is a challenge, nevertheless, and that's one of the goal, but the purpose of the whole simulation, right? So you want to be part of that simulation of that world where everything happens, the Yumi's inhabitants, they're doing own things, and you can interact with them and build the relations. So yeah, so we can sleep, we can eat, and all those Yumis will do their own things. So if I go to debug mode, I can see those all interactions in the area, and yeah, they looks crazy. It's like full of lines. I can use debug mode for expanding the range with Control F8 and plus minus at the moment. I can change the range what I see for debugging purposes. So there is that. Another thing is, which I would like to discuss, it is more technical aspect. It is about actually the classes of observables, so what interacts with what in terms of modding, and the autonomy, or the otherwise classic AI, which uses the utility AI, which is well known for decades in games development in general, and is very well executed in the Sims series as well as other games, which requires for variations of behaviors, not just scripted behavior. So more interactions available, the more unique behavior is and more unpredictable it is. Well, you can predict that, okay, if it's hungry, probably you're gonna go eat, but the certain things might happen, I will explain in a moment, which what makes it more less predictable. So first, observables. I'm going to discuss from technical point of view how it works in terms of modding to interact between what interacts with what. I leave actually this mode for now. So I'm going to go to let me see. Okay. So there are files what calls observables, and this is the script files which can be added. And there is class UMeAgent default, and it calls the environment. So I will be interacting with environment nature. I will not emit the connection, but I will receive. And for the bed, so the object bed emits that I'm bed and that you can sleep on this. And for the human, for example, interaction, we got socializing, we got bed that I'm gonna actually receive. So I'm looking for the bed, I'm looking where I can sleep and where I can eat around the tree. So trees, there is more of those classes. I'm not gonna discuss all of this, but just to showcase how this function from point of from the angle of the classes. And here this is the class, for example, of observable class, and there is a number of those classes. It can be created in Lua as a mod form. So now with those interactions, we see what interacts with what. Second thing is actually utility. There's a bit more to that because there's some part of Lua happens, Lua side, so it as well can be modded and need to be added in terms of interaction. It's a kind of boilerplate, and I'm not gonna discuss this now here. The second part is the utility AI. So both systems are very complex ones and requires a lot of, requiring a lot of refining, and still some additional refining is required in terms of performance. So the observable systems, while I had this working from the beginning, the further iterations and optimization cause some bugs, and I need to keep watch for them. But when I'm not recording, I can run 500 UMEs around 50 to 60 frames per second on my machine. Between 40 or 50 frames per second for 1000 UMEs. The ultimate goal is to have 60 frames per second for 1000 of UMEs. And mine does a 4K screen as well, so for smaller screens might be different. Now, in terms of needs. So needs are depending on the script side, which related to observables, which those interaction links. And so I'm using utility AI, what calls. So it's based on the curves. So in the examples, this is a range of curves which they are currently in the game. So different curves. For example, hunger might use this one curve. The sleep might need this curve. There's basically what it is. If I'm getting more hungry, let's say, oh, I need more sleep along the x-axis, the y-axis increases the urge. So if I'm going the hunger, my urge is here. But if I'm going along the sleep, I need more sleep. So my sleep is higher in terms of y-axis than hunger. So this will be my priority for the sleep over the hunger. Unless I go to here, so this is my hunger need. So now my hunger is much higher than sleep. I need to eat. So this is simplified form, and those can be edited as well. So this is single curve, which can be edited inside the tools inside the game. Those can be created. I'm in development of those tools. Still got some issues currently. Let me try. Okay, so this is this tool. At the moment, it's not interactive for whatever reason. And this is kind of bug because I was able to edit it. But basically, I can load and save the curves, which you have seen on the screen, because this screenshot is from just that. And it can be edited and saved and created into those curves list. So we have prefab curves, so got different type of curves here. And this is utility AI curve script, which if I go back, this is an example of one of the curves, easy, long, in, out. So we have easy, long, in, out. This one. So this is this curve. And basically there are keys which are responsible for creating. So this is more technical, but basically that does. And then in Lua, when actually in utility AI, there's another curve. When I create the utility AI, what I'm doing is basically, this is spare time, this is curve for hunger, this is for sleep. I'm using this specific curve for that. So one of those curves which created, this is actually not needed to be done in the Lua. And we have the icon ID. So we have icons. So we can use the icons just as any icon from in terms of UI. And we got some properties for offset or the curves, scale. So is the scale vertically or offset vertically? So you can move that curve for that particular urge type or need type. And based on that, those logic behaviors, control 7, those behaviors interact and switch on the need. In terms of the spare time is always, at the moment, it's just half. It's just the middle of the curve. So I think if I go linear half, so this is that. This is just half line. Although it should be filled, technically it should be filled halfway, this little bug which I need to fix. So yeah, in terms of most important things, how this works, I think that's it. And this is still in progress. So the next thing which I want is fix number of bugs, number of issues which I have both with observables, utility AI, so autonomy, as well as interaction with UI. I want to keep UI as minimalistic as possible. So not to be cluttered with too many icons. So for example, priorities, the needs, there will be only few displayed at the top and other needs will be hidden. So not clutter them with the list of the needs. Maybe there will be option to open to see them if somebody want to. But idea is to make it more immersive than from player perspective. If you control your own character, you want to be immersed with the most important needs and maybe something your desires. So there will be like desires options or icons. And yeah, so we got just basic menu and some state of the camera. And of course, I want to add the interaction with objects and UMeFate itself. So when I'm gonna click at them, I cannot click on them. So I cannot interact, they just ignore me. And I got various plans ahead to next stage. But as soon as I'm gonna reach more stable state, I want to update with current autonomy system. Even is not complete. Just make it simple. That's another bug, visual bug. So this is something I need to fix. And then yeah, I will be updated on Steam, and this will be another stage, another iteration, and then I'm gonna go for next. Just as I did with previous updates, I will go with another iterations, another updates, and the fixes, another additions and expansions to the systems, and to build actually UMeFate experience of Life Simulator. So that's it for now. I hope that makes more sense at the moment, the directions I'm heading to. I hope it wasn't too intertwined explanation, but I like to make a bit introduction what I'm doing and a bit of technical side as well. So I think that's it, and I'll speak you next time, and bye.